So what is going on, everyone? Fernando Silva here with another video, and Apple just released iPadOS Beta 8 to all developers, and I kind of want to show you guys what's new, because now that we're on the Beta 8, we're getting, like I said, closer to that RC edition, and you guys are going to see that nothing really changed. So that's going to do it for this video. Did I get you guys? But no, seriously, again, once we get into these higher betas, in my opinion, we're going to get the RC the next week, and then a final release on September 14th, or maybe the week after that. But there are a couple of small differences, and we're going to go over the release notes too, go over battery performance, and see exactly what's going on with iPadOS 15 Beta 8. Because again, like I said, we're almost there, 2 weeks away. Let's get into it. So let's hop right into this video, everybody. So if we go into our images right here, and if you guys follow me on Twitter, then you know that I always post the latest updates in terms of what size it is for the iPadOS 15 developer betas. And you can see that here we're about 340 megabytes in order to get this installed. So give yourselves about 800 megabytes, even a gigabyte of space at least to get this installed correctly. But again, since we're getting farther and farther with these betas, right? Now we're on Beta 8, most likely next week we're going to get the RC edition. And then September 14th, Apple will announce that at midnight, everybody that has a capable device to install iOS and iPadOS 15 will be able to do that over the air. So keep in mind, it's around maybe September 15th is when everybody's going to be able to get it. That's just my 2 cents. That's what I think is going to happen, because that's usually what Apple does when it comes to these beta programs and these public releases for these programs. The next thing that I want to show you is actually the build number, because the build number is a little bit different, but also very similar. So if we go to the About section, click on the 15.0, you can see that right here we have 19A5340 lowercase a. And if you guys have been following along, we saw that Beta 7 actually also ended in A, but the numbers were a little bit different. I want to say it was 344A at the very end, so I guess we're still going down in numbers. But again, the one after this, the closer we get to A, then we're going to get to RC, and then finally the final release to everybody in the public, which will be nice to have, which will be amazing. So again, since we're on the Beta 8 and we're so close to the final release, I'm actually going to show you guys the developer release notes, because these are the developer release notes that are given to all developers that, pay the $100 a year to be part of this. And normally, when something new occurs, right, there's different categories that Apple gives you, right? There's a known issue category, which then also shows you the workarounds for those issues. But then there's the depreciations as well. And then finally, there's the new, right? So if we scroll down, you can see that if I go to the Beta 7, there's actually a new feature in iCloud, which is that iCloud Private Relay that I mentioned, the beta relay that they've been slowly starting to put out for everybody to use. But if you scroll up again and go through all of the different iPadOS Beta 8 releases, there's 0 things that are new. Like, there's nothing new. It's all about debugging. It's all about the depreciation, the known issues, and the workaround for those known issues. And again, when you get this far into the Beta 8 release notes, I'm giving you guys kind of an inside look right here. So this is mostly for developers to know that they should be able to use the SDK correctly, and if there's any issues while coding, that these might be the reasons why there's coding issues. And that's Apple on the back end trying to fix that for everybody to be able to code correctly and have everything work as they want to. So at this point, it's not really anything tangible, anything physical. It's for developers in the back end to make sure that their stuff works with iPads. Because again, the only real difference that I noticed is if you go into settings, scroll down, and you might not even have this. So unless you have to have the iTunes U application installed. But if you go into the iTunes U settings, you can see that there's now a new notifications toggle. That notifications option was not there at all before. So now it's there. If you are iTunes U user, by all means, turn on your notifications right there. But again, I did hear that iTunes U is actually going to be discontinued in the next year or so, because I believe there's other applications, both third-party and natively, that Apple's kind of putting on the forefront and letting iTunes U kind of die, because I don't really know how many people use iTunes U on a regular basis. But again, that's the only visual difference that I personally noticed. Leave some comments down below if you guys noticed some other ones. I noticed that some people said that if you go into multitasking, the actual Safari, so like when these logos right here, apparently they move to the right the slightest bit. I can't really tell a difference, but if you guys can, by all means, that's another physical, visual difference that you can see. But outside of that, nothing really different. The next thing that I want to show you guys is overall performance in terms of battery. So if we scroll back up, let's go into battery, see what our screen on time is looking like. So in the last 10 days, we have 2.5 hours of screen on time. Again, you can see that my usage kind of peaks in the middle of the week, dies down on the weekends because I'm usually doing stuff. But on a day like today, right, 4 hours and 30 minutes of screen on time, we've kind of used up about 75% battery. A lot of it was LumaFusion, but you can see applications like LumaFusion take up 60% battery with only an hour and a half of usage. So what does that mean? Maybe I can get 2.5 hours, 3 hours of pure LumaFusion usage on the iPad Pro on a single battery, because then you can see Safari, the home screen, YouTube, 4% of YouTube is 30 minutes. So if I'm watching YouTube all day long, I'll be able to get way more battery as opposed to using LumaFusion the entire time and using up all the battery within a 3-hour span. But again, this is more of an indicator on iPadOS Beta 7. Stay tuned for the follow-up video if you guys want to get some insights on how it's going to hold up throughout this week with Beta 8. But that is pretty much it. In terms of performance, it feels good, it feels snappy, it feels clicky. All the multitasking works perfectly fine. So if I want to open up, let's say, Notes, everything works fine. You can still kind of get rid of it right there. So from a performance standpoint, iPadOS Beta 8 is super stable. Highly recommended at this point if you guys want to try it out. But let's get out of this view and go to the normal view. So as you guys saw, there were very little differences, if any. The only difference that we found is in the iTunes U application being able to actually have notifications now. But at the same time, that iTunes U application is going to be non-existent in the next year, I believe. I think Apple's going to discontinue that application. But overall, we're going just through bug fixes, performance improvements, making sure that it's ready for everybody and the public to recognize and be ready to install it on all their devices. And again, Apple's really known for this. I'm going to list down every single iDevice that's going to be compatible with iOS and iPadOS 15, and the list goes down really low, all the way down to the iPhone SE, the iPhone 6, the iPad Mini 2. So if you have the iDevice from the last 5 years, you're going to be able to play with iPadOS 15 and iOS 15 and most likely run it pretty well. For right now, we're running it on my M1 iPad Pro, and then we're running iOS 15 on my 11 Pro Max, so my devices aren't super dated, but at the same time, they're running super smoothly. Even the Twitter situation has been fixed, which is nice to see, and we're just getting ready for the final release, and I think we're pretty much ready to go. So at this point, if you do want to install the public developer beta, you should be able to at this point. I do recommend hopping onto it because, again, I haven't had any data loss, any issues with backup, nothing whatsoever. Again, there was the occasional app crash, especially in the very beginning of the betas, but again, zero data loss. If I opened up the application, I'd be exactly where I left off. But that's going to do for this video. Leave a comment down below. Did you guys update finally to iPadOS 15? I know I ask the question every week, but I'm always curious to see if people are just yearning to really get iPadOS 15 and start playing with all those new features. And also stay subscribed because we're going to have a whole encompassing iPadOS 15 kind of starter guide to make sure that all the new features are covered, you guys are in the know, and you guys can take advantage of all those new iPad features that are coming in the next 2 weeks to your new or even old iPad. But that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, peace.